You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Let's talk about Rickie Collins and all the information you really need to know about him. He's a transfer from LSU. This happened in December, and to be honest with you, it's really not a surprise that he was named Syracuse's starting quarterback. He is 6'2", 205 pounds, and he is listed as a redshirt sophomore, which means he has 3 years of college eligibility remaining. Collins was a highly touted recruit from Louisiana in 2023, and he chose to go to LSU. However, he didn't see the field a whole lot while at LSU in 2 seasons. He's only thrown 7 career passes, and in 1 year, he took a red shirt. Now, the reason why Rickie Collins didn't see the field a whole lot at LSU is because, well, the quarterbacks ahead of him, I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're pretty good at this thing called playing quarterback, and you're only allowed, or you can have more than one quarterback on the field, but most teams only have one quarterback on the field. So that's why Rickie Collins didn't really play a whole lot. In 2023, which was his true freshman season, there was a guy starting at LSU by the name of Jayden Daniels. You might have heard of him. Oh, I don't know. He's just some guy that won the Heisman Trophy as the best player in college football in 2023. And I don't know, as a rookie quarterback, he led the Washington Commanders to the NFC title game. I think that guy's pretty good, right? Well, that was the starter at LSU in 2023. And in 2024, you think that, oh, this might be Rickie Collins' shot, except it wasn't, because there was a guy by the name of Garrett Nussmeier that was there. And maybe Garrett Nussmeier isn't as good as Jayden Daniels, but he was good enough to where he could have easily declared for the 2024 NFL draft and might have been a first-round pick. Maybe there was an outside chance at it. At very least, he probably goes day 2 if he goes to the NFL. But he decided to stay another season, which means had Rickie Collins stayed at LSU, that would be 3 years of sitting on the bench. So obviously, he decides to enter the transfer portal, and you'd have to figure he was looking for an opportunity to start. And well, Syracuse was likely going to lose Kyle McCord to the NFL. We'll never know if the NCAA would have ultimately given him a 5th-year waiver. And as a result, Syracuse and Rickie Collins seemed like a good match. Syracuse needs a starting quarterback. There's opportunity there. Rickie Collins wants the opportunity to start. And so he ultimately signs with Syracuse in December with the understanding that he would have a legitimate chance to earn the starting job. As far as Rickie Collins' play style, he is a mobile quarterback with a really strong arm. And obviously, he's got a lot of talent, right? He was a highly sought after recruit that was ultimately picked up by LSU. That is obviously not a joke of a program. They've had some pretty damn good quarterbacks there over the last few years. I mentioned Garrett Nussmeier. I mentioned Jayden Daniels. There's also a guy by the name of Joe Burrow you can sprinkle in there as well. I don't know if you've heard of Joe Burrow, but he's pretty good. Just saying. He maybe led LSU to a national championship and led the Cincinnati Bengals to a Super Bowl. That's neither here nor there. But it will be interesting to see how Rickie Collins and his play style is more of a mobile quarterback than, say, Kyle McCord, and how he fits with Syracuse's offense. Offensive coordinator Jeff Nixon, he runs a spread offense. For those that watched Syracuse a year ago with Kyle McCord, it was an offense where he had to make quick and decisive reads, and it essentially relied on the quarterback making a lot of pre-snap reads, where you got to know where you're going with the football before the ball is even snapped. Syracuse also ran a lot of RPOs, which is a run pass option for short, which means you got to be very quick in making You got to be very quick in making your decision as soon as the ball is snapped. Are you going to hand it off to LaQuinn Allen or whoever the running back is next to you? Or are you going to throw the quick slant to Jackson Meeks? You got to make up your mind very, very quickly. It was perfect for a drop back passer like Kyle McCord. Will it work for Rickie Collins, though? I guess that is the million-dollar question, but there is one aspect of Rickie Collins that I really liked. I mentioned his mobility, and I think that ultimately is going to help him in this offense because with Kyle McCord, there are highlights of him obviously scrambling, but for all intents and purposes, he was mostly a pocket passer. I'm not trying to knock the guy down or anything. That's just what his play style was. He's a pocket passer, and he was pretty darn good at it. But with Rickie Collins, I mentioned the RPOs with Kyle McCord. Well, with Collins, his mobility opens up the possibility of more triple options. For those that don't know what that means, Rickie Collins could be in the shotgun, and when he gets the ball, he could have 3 potential reads. He could hand the ball off to his running back. He could throw the quick slant or whatever quick route that Syracuse has called for the RPO, or the quarterback keeper. See, we saw Kyle McCord do this once or twice over the season. There's that highlight of him running for 40 and 60 yards. One of them was called back for a penalty. I believe it was against Boston College, where they just didn't respect Kyle McCord's ability to run. And so as a result, the defensive end, he just goes right in and attacks the running back, opens up the outside for Kyle McCord. Well, with Rickie Collins, that defensive end is going to have to respect the fact that Collins can certainly run at a high level. So I think he could fit into Syracuse's spread offense. And I'm going to give the coaching staff the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to recruit a kid if you don't think he can fit within the offense, right?